Even with airplanes flying overhead, it doesn't matter. In pure consciousness, we are gathered under the same intent. The white ones too. Let the love shine through. On this beautifully perfect day, each of us in our own way, expressing the joy of being present, effervescent, each in our own way. We'll listen intently to every word they say. I know this is probably supposed to be instrumental, but they give me a lot of rope, which gives me hope to proceed with the day. And all the incredible volunteers will make it possible for us to be here, each of us playing it by ear. Everyone has a role to play, and I get the microphone so I can say that I appreciate being here. And if they turn this microphone off, I'll keep playing. I won't stop, just glad to see your smiling faces out there. And I'll be happy to turn it over as we sit out here in the clover, in this beautiful, wonderful place we call home.
Well, good morning. Can you hear me? Perfect. Well, my name is Connie Carter. I'm on your board, and it is my privilege and joy to welcome each and every one of you who are here, and all of you at home as well. Thank you so much for being here at our Sunday morning service at Unity of Tustin. It's a beautiful day. We're blessed to be here, as always. Let's see. The first thing is to please silence your cell phones if you haven't already done so, because they always manage to go off at the very wrong time. So go ahead and take a look at that, even if you think you did. Make sure, and I'll do that when I sit down too, because I don't want it to be me. As far as introductions go, we were going to have Shara here today, and we actually do. I'll get to that point in a minute. But we are very, very blessed to have Craig. He's going to be delivering our message today. There he is. Thank you so much, Craig. And then for our musical guest, we have Harold Payne joining us today. And I'll just try and take a page from you. We at Tustin are so blessed to have you as our musical guest. Welcome back. Now for some announcements. First of all, as I was saying, our beloved Shara was scheduled to speak today, but she came down positive with COVID, so she cannot be amongst us. We want to send our prayers, our healing wishes, and everything to her. Her girls are fine, they're helping her and everything else, but that's why Shara isn't with us right here. The second announcement I want to say is that the Sacred Grounds Ministry will be holding a cleanup day. That will be Saturday, July the 2nd, and that's where we all get together and we beautify our already beautiful grounds. We do some trimming, some weeding, all the water, all the tools, snacks, all that will be provided. It's easy, it's actually fun, believe it or not, and we have a great time. So do come and join us. It's from 9 to noon. You can join us for all of it or any part of that, and that's July 2nd, Saturday. The next thing I want to talk about is we are having a community meeting Sunday, July 10th after services. This is our time to gather together as a community, review what we've done, find out what is upcoming, and generally take stock of where we are and how we're doing. It's an important way to stay informed, be part of what's going on. The meeting will be live or online, whichever works best for you. Either way, it will be hybrid, so whatever works best for you. So that's July the 10th, and do join us for that. Next, I would like to say that after garden beautification and State of the Union meetings, what do? We eat and we play. And so there is going to be a barbecue picnic being put on by the Mutts and Hospitality that will take place on, let me make sure I get this right, don't say the wrong date. That will be Sunday, July 24th, right after services. The theme will be a luau. It's going to be festive. There's going to be food, music, games, all sorts of fun. We'll talk more about that in the upcoming week and so forth, but just now know that it's upcoming and put it on your calendar. It's not to be missed. It's great fun. Let's see. Oh, the final thing is our spirit group celebration is today. We had 5 different spirit groups going on. We all had a marvelous time. And today is kind of our finale for this segment of the spirit groups. We'll be meeting out in the back there. There's going to be cake. So those of us who were in spirit groups, don't forget, come over right after service today at 12:30. And that concludes our announcement. So thank you, and settle in and enjoy the services today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jack Ragland, and it is my honor this morning to open our service by first lighting the Christ candle, then reading the daily word. The Christ candle is a symbol of the divine Christ Spirit which is in each of us. It is in us as us, expressing the love of God throughout the world. The affirmation for today is kindness. The affirmation is I am love in action. Sharing acts of kindness. The biblical reading for today comes from the book of Zechariah, chapter 7, verse 9. Render true judgments, show kindness and mercy to one another. The text, it is my nature to be kind. Divine love is inherent within me, part of my spiritual identity. Opportunities abound to be kind, and I hold that intention today. Ideas will fill my mind, perhaps as a nudge to call a neighbor, send a note, extend a smile. Or give a compliment. Practicing kindness, I am patient in all my dealings and resist easy judgments and prejudices. I am keenly aware that challenging situations can frustrate me, but I also welcome them as occasions to call upon my higher self as a loving, peaceful being. The more I practice kindness, the more easily it becomes the song of my heart and the way of my life. I will say the affirmation twice more. The first time I will read it to you, and the second time I invite everyone here to join me in this glorious affirmation. I am love in action, sharing acts of kindness. Together, I am love in action, sharing acts of kindness.
Let the peaceful waters tumble down my soul. Let me live in this moment and watch it all unfold. Let this joyful feeling come from deep inside and lift my spirit closer to the light. Oh, 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 I'm letting go. Oh, I'm letting go. I'm gonna roll with the tide, surrender to the highs and lows, to the pull of the moon in the ebb and flow. I am lost in the stillness of a silent prayer, just a movement of breath and a heartbeat there. Oh, oh, I'm letting go. Oh, I'm letting go. Let the peaceful waters tumble down my soul, and let me live in this moment and watch it all unfold. Let this joyful feeling come from deep inside, oh, and lift my spirit closer to the light. Oh, I'm letting go. Oh, I'm letting go. I am letting go. Oh, I'm letting go.
Let's close our eyes together. Such a beautiful teaching that Harold's song has given us this morning. Letting go. The Dharma talk last week was a lot about letting go. As we come to the prayer this morning, let's use a little question. Let's bring a great question to the mind as a prayer. Really look. What would I have to let go of right now to be at peace? Breathe open to the answer inside you. What would I have to let go of to be in the flow of the Tao, the divine intelligence that is giving rise to all of this without us having to do anything to make it happen? What would you have to let go of right now? Not tomorrow, not next week, next year, right here. And out of that great question, we pray this morning. Teach us to be still. For only in stillness can we feel your presence as us. Teach us to be quiet. For only in silence can we hear the truth. Teach us to find sanctuary in the spaciousness of the breath. Like a sacred mantra filling our being. For in that stillness, silence, and spaciousness, we come home to the ocean of awareness, the truth of what we are, here and now. What would you have to let go of to be at peace?
When I heard the news about Shara's father passing, and song I wrote for my father. And it ties into the message of kindness that was spoken about. When I think of everyone who's tried to help me, Well, it makes me wish that I could find a way to pay them back for all the little acts of kindness that helped me find my way when I was falling from the track. But a grateful man's intentions make him worth his weight in gold. If he can pass it to the next man he finds lost out in the cold, pass it on, brother, pass it on. If you can't pay it back, then pass it on. I can't say I'll ever be a rich man, and the things that I could call my own sometime I could carry on my back. But all the helping hands that reached out and found me have left me with a love that lasts through anything I lack. And I'm thinking if I ever make it up that hill someday, you know I won't forget to leave a little bit of love along the way. Pass it on, brother, pass it on. If you can't pay it back, then pass it on. Pass it on, sister, pass it on. If you can't pay it back, if you can't pay it back to the person that gave you what you had in the beginning, there's only one way to keep the circle from being unbroken. You gotta pass it on. You gotta pass it on to somebody. If you can't pay it back, then by all means, you gotta pass it on. Pass it on. Thank you.
I invite you to close your eyes again if you haven't already. And just for a moment, get a sense of deeply resting. As we rest, let's listen to these words from the great sage Ramana Maharshi. Your practice is to simply be, and not to be this or that. I am that I am sums up the whole truth. The practice is summed up in the words, be still. What does stillness mean? It means to go beyond your limited idea of who you are. Because any form or shape you identify with is the cause of all your trouble. Give up the notion that I am so-and-so. All that is required to know who you are is to be still. What can be easier than that? We might bring that question to ourselves again. What can be easier than being here and being still? In that stillness, we find the rest, the ease, the relaxation that we are longing for at this time. When we allow the body to just be still for this moment, the spiritual dimension arises effortlessly. In fact, it welcomes us home to this eternal presence that is only known right now. So for this moment, allow yourself the opportunity to just be still. Let yourself rest completely in that stillness. And as you rest, bring awareness gently to your listening. From that stillness, listen to the sounds of life arising around you this morning. It's like a symphony. Allow there to be a little shift now from listening to the voice in your head, perhaps even being lost in that story. Let the shift bring your awareness right here and just listen with every cell in your body. You might lift your interior gaze slightly. Get a sense of looking out through your forehead as you listen. Looking out into the space of a big open sky. The sky of your own awareness. Notice as you listen that you do not have control over the sounds that are appearing to your awareness here. They're just happening spontaneously. Each sound is a big surprise. And notice that you personally are not having to do anything to make these sounds appear. In fact, they're beyond your control. As we draw our next in-breath, get a sense that you're breathing through your forehead. Let the in-breath flow in like a breeze this morning, and let it sweep your mind of any remaining debris, any worries, any fears, any sense of trying to control this present moment. Let the in-breath sweep any sense of needing to effort or struggle to meditate, to get someplace special. And simply notice that you are already in the special place. Right here and right now. As we breathe, let the breath flow in now and let it rise toward the crown of your head. For some of you, that may feel like it's lifting your spirit toward heaven, in Taoism called Shen. Breathe in and up toward the crown. See what you feel there this morning. Be absorbed there as you listen. Feel the breath like a mantra, a silent mantra, flowing in into the crown. And now as you breathe out through the forehead, make the internal sound of to yourself, letting go more deeply. Take several of those breaths in into the crown, out on the internal sound of reverberating down through your body. In the Zen tradition, there is a great teaching that says, in Zen, there is no next. Feel that this morning. There is only now. And I invite everybody to notice as we continue to rest. In fact, I invite all of you to continue resting for the rest of the service, if you're called to do that. Please don't feel that I'm going to move into something now that's going to entertain your mind in some way, or be different somehow than what we're doing now. What we're doing now is the highest practice. In fact, any words that I speak about this move us a step away from this depth. Not that there's anything wrong with words, but sometimes we can find ourselves looking for something in words, in the intellect, in the mind, that we cannot find, that can only be found by being still, by being quiet. Entering the spiritual dimension that is present here today. What would you need to let go of to be at peace? Perhaps you've already let go of it here. Everything is available to us here and now. There's simply a deeper and deeper resting into this depth. A deeper and deeper letting go. All of us, during these times we are living in, we are longing for a deeper rest. Even those of us that have been on the spiritual path a while, meditating, doing our practices, we are longing to come home to some kind of stability, to some kind of ease in our lives, because everything in the outer world is shaking. All of you know this is true. And it seems that the more we try to control the outer world, to force it to be some way that we think will give us security, to arrange the circumstances in a way where we can feel at peace or at ease, the more we try to do that, the more it slips through our fingers. The more unwieldy the world becomes. The more chaotic the mind becomes. Because as I spoke about last week, and this may be an extension of that talk, we simply cannot control what happens around us. The great masters, the great sages just simply found that if they lay down the illusion of control, they find peace. If they stop trying to resist the flow of life, which here and now is so at ease, isn't it? There's no problem here. Why is it that we have such a hard time trusting God? Why is it that we have, even people who have been meditating for years, I find this, have such a hard time trusting the flow of life, which is now and only now and is unfolding perfectly? All of us are being called home now to letting go of this resistance. For those who continue to hold on to the old ways, who continue to think that they will be able to force life to be the way they want it to be so they can be happy, there will be increasing frustration and suffering. Those who let go into the flow will find peace. Just as many of you here have let go today. What do you find here and now? Last week I read a teaching from Krishnamurti. Some of you were here. And in this teaching, Krishnamurti simply asked toward the end of his life, his students, do you want to know my secret? Of course, I said they all were ready to receive the big secret that would give them enlightenment and joy and inner freedom. And here's what he told them. I'll tell you my secret. I don't mind what happens. Breathe that in. Some of you are smiling. You get it. I don't mind what happens. In other words, everything that shows up in the present moment is acceptable to me. It's all the will of God. It's all exactly the way it's supposed to be. And I have no inner resistance to it all. No need to try to control. I don't mind what happens. Just like if we minded that the planes were coming home overhead right now, I said last week, 20 years ago, I would have come to Unity, maybe 30 years ago. I would have said, wow, this is a beautiful place, but man, those planes, I can't meditate with those planes going on. Now it's music. I don't mind that there are planes any more than I mind that it's beautiful and sunny today or the breeze is blowing. Everything is acceptable. I did a little research this week on Krishnamurti's talk where he said this really powerful teaching. At least for me. This is one of the handful of teachings that have come along in my life that really impacted me and continues to do so on a deeper level to this day. He also said after that when you release your attachment to outcomes, that means that when you stop thinking that life should show up the way you want it to, you'll feel good no matter what. That sounds pretty good to me. Feeling good no matter what. By just releasing my attachment to my ideas and concepts that life should be the way I think it should be, instead of the way it is. So this week, I did a little research. You can actually find this talk on YouTube. Isn't YouTube amazing? There it is. Ojai, 1977. I didn't even know who Krishnamurti was then. He was at the end of his life. He had some years to go, but he was older now. He had been teaching many, many years. Apparently, the truth is that he used this teaching a number of times around this time. This wasn't the only time that he pointed in this way. And in this particular talk in Ojai, he said something a little bit different but has the same flavor. So I have this teaching here and I'm going to read it today. Here's what he said. I've no problems because I don't mind what happens. I don't mind if I fail or succeed. I have no problems because I don't demand anything from anybody or from life. I wonder if you understand this, he asks. Can you imagine living this way, with this kind of freedom? When I read these words, I hear inner freedom. All demands and expectations of life have dropped away. Into that sound. I'll read it one more time. One of my dear teachers used to say, it's amazing about the mind. You read something once and you think, oh, I already know it. What's next? Is it true? Yeah, I see some of you shaking your heads. But he used to say, the real depth of a teaching comes on the second, the third, the fourth reading. Have you noticed? The truly great spiritual works like the Tao Te Ching and whatever moves you and speaks to you, isn't it true? You might put it down for a little while and you come back to it a year later, 5 years later, and it hits you at an even deeper level, right? That's because you've deepened. That's a true spiritual teaching. It's not something we just throw over our shoulder. There are verses in the Tao Te Ching that I read now that I know I've read at least 100 times, and it's like reading something fresh and new. It's so startling, the lucidity and the power of those teachings, right? And it moves you into a deeper level right at that time. Amazing. This teaching from Krishnamurti has been one of those. I said last week that this came to me through Eckhart Tolle, who definitely had a huge impact on my own life 20 years ago or more, and continues. So I'll read this again. I've no problem because I don't mind what happens. I don't mind if I fail or succeed. I have no problem because I don't demand anything from anybody or from life. I wonder if you understand this. Just being present to what shows up and flowing with it. A good example of this is the unfolding this week. When I got the call late Friday, text about Shara being ill, and I know that all of us today are sending our great love to her, our blessings, our chi, our light to her. It really does help. And I know she's listening today, so Shara, that's for you. There might have been some of you who came today and you said, oh, that's not Shara. Wait a minute. Maybe I should go home. I don't want to hear about the now anymore. He's just going to talk about all that Zen stuff about it's all right now. No, he doesn't know my life. Oh my goodness. He doesn't know the problems waiting for me at home. He thinks it's so simple. So there was a surprise. This is what I've been calling stuff that shows up in my life that's a little bit of, I don't know, it comes out of left field, right? I call it a surprise. The Tao gives me a little surprise and says, what do you want to do with this? You want to flow with this? Want to be open to it? Had to rearrange my schedule a little bit, and here I am with all of you, right? It's beautiful. All of you probably have events like this happening in your lives. Surprises. I always call it the proverbial flat tire. You know what I mean? You're rushing for work and you go outside. I have had this happen. And you go outside and, the flat tire. Oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And we can either resist this event, we can curse our fate. Oh my God, this always happens to me. I'm going to lose my job. I can't believe it. On and on the story goes in our mind. Or we can call AAA and they come out and they fix the tire and on you go. Maybe because of the delay you missed an accident. I don't know. Maybe. Everything's happening. All these surprises happen and come to us to show us the areas of our life that we need to look at. For me, a lot of times, it's to show me maybe some form of impatience I have, or trying to force life to be a certain way, thinking I know what's best. And so, Friday, after I agreed to come, there is now the question, what will I talk about? Right? For those of you that may not know, Shara Blair and I, we give our talk title about a month before we're here. And I have my own way of preparing for the Dharma talks I give here. I don't really write anything out, but there's a contemplation that begins to happen around the title. Some quotes come. But this time, there was no time. So I just surrendered to the surprise. And I said, I'm just going to see what comes out that day. So what you're hearing today is completely spontaneous. It's coming and arising in the moment, fresh and new. A lot of what I speak of in Dharma talks does come from that place. When we are willing to flow with the surprises of life in this way, life has a way of delivering us to places that we cannot even imagine, like me being here with you today. All we have to do is open to this and flow with it. And the most wonderful miracles can happen out of this kind of flowing. Maybe some of you have felt that before. In each moment, we have the capability to enter a state of ease and flow if we are open, no matter what is happening. Through a deep surrender, through a deep allowing and not minding what's happening, we begin to actually see what is in front of us and the miracle that it presents to us, if we're just open to it. The question always is, are we here? Are we open? As most of you know, one of my main practices is the practice of Zen. Zen just means meditation. Its deeper meaning is to be present here with what is. And every moment becomes a moment of meditation. Are you here? Are you present? There's a great story in the Zen tradition. I told this about a year ago at Unity. I'm going to tell it again because it's coming up right now to share with everyone. And it's very much along this lines of being in alignment with reality, and that when we are really here, the state of Zen opens up naturally. This state of deep meditation in each moment. Be clear, the masters are not just meditating when they're sitting on a cushion. And I do encourage everyone, those of you who have come enough to hear me know, I'm a really big advocate and supporter of daily meditation. Being still. We need that right now. As I said before, life is shaking. There's so much uncertainty right now. When I sit with new people who are new to meditation, I can literally feel their anxiety. This sense of just being out of control. Of course it is. And it's wonderful to be able to sit with them and guide them into meditation because they have beginner's mind. They're not comparing that meditation to the meditation they did last week. Well, maybe this one will do it. This will be the one where I attain enlightenment, right? Or I'm so frustrated by my meditation, I just can't sit still for a moment. I would just give it up. There's none of that comparison. They come to their meditation effortlessly, joyfully, very curious about what might unfold. And through that, they enter the state of Zen very easy, as most of you have today. Just your listening deeply. Notice as I finish the words I'm speaking that you can listen to the words, you can listen to the sounds, and be in a state of presence here, of Zen. It's available always. That spiritual dimension that calls us home over and over and over again. All we have to do is relinquish our need to control, our identification with the voice in our head. There's always a story there. Have you noticed? Thankfully, the story in our head is not who we are. When we relinquish that story, we move into a much deeper space of peace. It doesn't mean that we need to get rid of the mind or try to subdue it or subject it. We just simply know that the voice in our head is not who we are, nor will it ever be. In meditation, in Zen, there is a relaxing into that depth that is watching the mind, that is observing what the mind has to say, but is not that. There's space inside of us, space around our thoughts that we can rest in. You know, I often point to my students that if you listen deeply to the sounds that are appearing around you right now, and you know you have no control over them, they're just appearing. If you close your eyes for a moment and you listen to the thoughts arising in your head, these thoughts are exactly like the sounds around you. They're just appearing. They're just arising, like the sound of the plane. And like the sound of the plane, the sound of the birds, if we're honest, we have no control over the thoughts that appear to our awareness. Nor do we need to. We can just relax. We have the capability of entering a state of Zen at every single moment, right here and right now. And so, to the story. One of my favorite teaching stories from Zen. Some of you maybe have heard me say this before, but any story worth telling that moves us deeply is worth hearing again. So there was a great Zen master named Bankai who lived in Japan. And there was a monk who had been there in the monastery for several years, and after several years, he still couldn't figure out Zen. He would think about it and he would ponder it, and he just grew more and more frustrated with trying to get to a state of Zen. So one day he decided, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to leave the monastery, but first I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the master. So Bankai was sitting out in the courtyard. He walked up. He told Bankai what he was going through. I think I'm going to leave. I'm so frustrated. He said, you keep talking about this Zen. We keep being silent. He goes, I can't figure it out. And Bankai, he smiled compassionately. And he lifted his finger. And he said, do you hear the sound of that mountain stream in the distance? The monk listened. He didn't hear it. He didn't hear it because he was so lost in his thinking, his conceptual mind trying to figure out Zen. to understand it intellectually. Now, we could use the sound of the plane instead of the mountain stream today. And he said to Bankai, no, I don't hear it. He said, he lifted his finger again. He goes, listen again. And this time the monk heard the stream deeply. And he said, yes, I hear it. Bankai said, enter Zen from there. Whatever you focus on with your full awareness in the present moment will take you into a state of Zen. This is a great secret. You might notice this. Whatever is happening right now, if you focus on it one-pointedly, it will bring you to a state of Zen. Present moment awareness. Doesn't matter what it is. You might try it. Even the feeling against your chair, if you really feel that right now and are there with it, you enter Zen from there. The sound of the plane coming, enter Zen from there. The feeling of the breeze on your skin, if you really feel it, Zen. The feeling of your breath flowing into the body. Notice that your breath is happening only now. Zen. The sound of the birds. Enter Zen from there. Zen is this eternal now moment, and it is that which arises out of that moment perfectly, no matter what it is. Any time that we resist this flow, we suffer greatly. As I said, any time that we try to force the flow to be some other way, we suffer. But in letting go, we relax into this simplicity of Zen. We don't mind what happens because what happens is Zen. It is perfect. It is for you. You might notice this in your life. When you feel confused, when you get lost in a story in your mind that things should be different than the way they are, pause, take a breath, and enter Zen from there. I've been saying to my students lately that even if you turn towards your mind fully to the thoughts that are appearing right now, and for a lot of you, thoughts are very calm, benign right now, but thoughts happen, don't they? If you turn directly to your thoughts, and you notice without getting lost in your thoughts that those thoughts are appearing right now, you will enter a state of Zen. You don't need to battle with your mind or shut it off or get rid of it. Just simply notice this. Even if you have a thought about the future, say what you're going to have for lunch later or what you'll do tomorrow or at work, notice that that thought happens only now. And enter Zen from there. Whatever you focus on with your awareness one-pointedly will take you into the ocean of Zen. Let yourself rest there. The sanctuary, the refuge, the surety, the stability that we are seeking, it is not found in the outer world or in the future. It can only be found in the stability of this eternal now moment. Notice that. Undoubtedly. What would you have to let go of right now to be at peace?
Craig. Thank you so much for following the flow and bringing that here to all of us today. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. So, we have come to the point here in our service, a very special point, where we get to welcome any new visitors who have joined us today. If any of you are here for the very first time and you'd be willing to raise your hand so that we can acknowledge you, oh, wonderful. Welcome. We have a gift for you. It's our pleasure to have you with us today. So thanks so much. We have a little welcome packet and a little gift for you. So it's great to have you here with us. Thank you. And just to remind you all that Unity is an inclusive community. All faiths, all sexual orientations, and all souls are welcome here. We have now come to the time of giving our tithes and offerings as a way of participating in the flow of giving and receiving and of being a contributing part of this spiritual community. You can add to the collection basket as it comes around. You can use the donation button on your screen, and we also have a credit card kiosk. Let us first join in saying the love offering affirmation together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And as our ushers come forward, Harold has another gift for us. Thank you.
Well, I had a song that I was going to play today, and I am going to do that, but I have a little something from today as well. A hummingbird whispered into my ear and told me there's a reason why I'm here, to listen with every cell of my body and turn off that inner karate that fights my letting go. And I know somehow there is no next, there is only now. And I won't mind what happens, and I will simply tap into whatever life may bring. We have gathered here together, celebrating life, receiving inspiration for dreams that will take flight. We have everything we will ever need in our heart of hearts. We see eventually that we're here to make a difference, each in our own way. Every seed you've planted, every life you've changed, every act of kindness, every single day, every dream you share, every moment you were there, will live on. There's a special place in heaven for those who go through life working quiet miracles, never seeking the spotlight. We have seen your faith, we have felt your strength, we've received your love in so many ways, and it has not gone unnoticed. It has not been in vain. Every seed you've planted, every life you've changed, every act of kindness, every single day, every dream you share, Every moment you were there, we live on. We can feel your spirit come shining through. Wherever we go, whatever we do, every seed you planted, every life you changed, every act of kindness, every single day, every dream you've shared, every moment you were there, we'll live on. Thank you.
Beautiful. Let us now offer the love offering blessing. Holy Spirit, bless these offerings as a beautiful affirmation of support and devotion to our spiritual community. This faithful giving sustains this community, which in turn sustains all of us. And so it is. Thank you, Kathy. For some final announcements, let me say it has been so helpful every week that we happen to be out in the gardens. When all of you lend a hand, it makes it possible and easy for us to keep doing this. So when we're complete, if you would kindly help us break down the easy ups and pick up the chairs, it's incredibly helpful. So grab a chair or two, help out where you are able, get things kind of picked up. And then after that, come on over to hospitality. We have food, we have community, things to eat. We have some brochures and so forth to take a look at and see what's going on around here. And so partake of all of that. The bookstore is open. And in addition to all the good things that are there, I want to remind you about this book in particular. It's called The 5 Principles, and you are heartily invited to go into the bookstore and pick up your copy. As Craig mentioned, you can hear something once, you can hear something twice, or what have you, but this book really brings home the 5 principles once again in a very deep and fresh way. So we have them, they're complimentary. Do pick one up and read it. Let's see here. And then also, most importantly, we do have prayer chaplains and Reiki practitioners who are here to pray with you and heal you and so forth at the entrance to our sacred gardens. So do take advantage of that. And with that, let us close this Sacred Sunday ceremony with the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go forth. Thank you.
It's a beautiful day, the kind that takes your breath away. A celebration of being right here, right now. As you all pick up your own chairs, helping tend to the church's affairs, in unity. This community always steps up, sharing their beautiful love. On this beautiful day, we won't let this teachings slip away.